Welcome. Today, we're diving into a secret that's literally been hiding in plain sight. And honestly, this should genuinely bother you. We're talking about a completely natural powder that's been killing insects since before humans even discovered fire. It permanently handles over 100 pest species, ants, fleas, bedbugs, roaches, and it leaves absolutely zero chemical residue behind. The kicker? It costs about $4 a bag. Yet, if you call an exterminator right now, I guarantee they are not going to mention it. Instead, they'll just sign you up for a really expensive chemical subscription. So let's jump right in and look at exactly what this ancient powder is, how it works, and why the massive pest control industry is desperately pretending it doesn't exist. First up, we gotta understand the sheer scale of the business here. $16 billion. That is the annual revenue generated by the pest control industry in the United States alone. It is an absolute juggernaut, and it thrives in a very specific business model: the chemical subscription. They come out, they spray, the chemicals eventually break down, the bugs inevitably return, and you just keep paying. It's a beautifully profitable loop. But then you have this: $4. Just $4 for a bag of a naturally occurring powder that permanently takes out those exact same pests. It doesn't degrade, it doesn't evaporate. You literally apply it once in a dry space, and it keeps working for weeks, months, or potentially even years. It is the ultimate whiplash, right? You've got a multi-billion-dollar empire on one side and a cheap bag of dust on the other. All right, Section 1, the $16 billion secret and the industry disconnect. Just think about the financial contrast here. Market data shows the average American homeowner drops anywhere from $300 to $550 every single year on pest control services. And a standard recurring contract, that can run you anywhere from $400 to $1,200 a year. Let's just average that out to about $800 on a high end of typical. Now, compare an $800 recurring bill to a single $4 bag of powder. You can instantly see why the industry isn't exactly thrilled to just hand you this bag and walk away. A $4 permanent solution to an $800 a year problem? That isn't a business model. That's business ending. Here's the thing about the industry's chemical treadmill. The treatment itself is the product. You get treated, pests inevitably come back, or new ones move in, and boom, you get treated again. Chemical solutions literally guarantee the bugs will be back, because those solutions are inherently temporary. But this powder, when you apply it right, it just sits there. It waits. And as long as it stays completely dry, it is permanently lethal to anything with an exoskeleton that dares to cross its path. Moving on to Section 2, the $4 alternative. Let's talk about diatomaceous earth. So the story of this stuff actually starts roughly 30 million years ago, way down at the bottom of ancient lakes and oceans. Back then, these single-celled algae called diatoms lived, died, and sank to the bottom. They're microscopic shells, which are basically made of natural glass or silica, piled up in layers thousands of feet deep. Over millions of years, all of that compressed into soft rock. Fast forward to today, and we simply mine that rock and grind it into a powder. It's 100% natural. Actually, it's used heavily in organic farming. And get this, the EPA registered the first pesticide products containing it way back in 1960. That is over 60 years of regulatory proof that it absolutely works. Okay, so what exactly is it? Diatomaceous earth, or DE for short, is a naturally occurring soft sedimentary rock, crumbled into a fine white powder made entirely of those fossilized silica shells I just mentioned. Now, to you and me, it feels like really soft, completely harmless, chalky baking flour. You can literally eat the food-grade version. But if you zoom into the microscopic scale of an insect, oh man, the reality is an absolute nightmare. Which brings us to Section 3, how mechanical and insecticides work, and the microscopic science behind it. The absolute most crucial thing to understand here is the fundamental difference in how these methods actually operate. Chemical pesticides, they work by disrupting specific biological processes inside the bug. But here's the huge problem. Insects reproduce so incredibly fast that over just a few generations, they actually evolve around those biological disruptions. They build up a resistance. Diatomaceous earth, on the other hand, causes pure physical, mechanical damage at the microscopic level. It literally tears through their physical structure. And there is absolutely no biological pathway for a bug to develop a resistance to physical destruction. To an insect, DE is not some soft powder. It's basically a minefield of thousands of jagged, razor-sharp fragments of fossilized glass. So as the bug walks through it, these microscopic razor plates slice right through the waxy, protective outer layer of their exoskeleton. And insects desperately need that waxy layer to hold their internal water in. Without it, the dry powder just absorbs the oils and fats right out of their cuticle, and they rapidly lose water. They aren't getting poisoned, they aren't getting paralyzed, they literally just fatally dehydrate. I love this concept because it just brilliantly captures the ultimate power of diatomaceous earth. You cannot evolve around a razor blade. The physics don't negotiate. And this isn't just some wild theory, by the way. Peer-reviewed entomology journals have confirmed over and over that DE is highly effective against strains of bedbugs that have become completely immune to modern chemical treatments. The bugs mutated to survive the exterminator's expensive sprays, sure, but they simply cannot mutate to survive a field of microscopic glass. Now, we do need to set some realistic expectations here when it comes to the timeline. DE is not some chemical bomb that kills instantly on contact. Soft-bodied bugs like aphids and caterpillars, they dry out pretty fast, usually within 12 to 24 hours. Things like fleas and bedbugs might take a little longer, say 24 to 72 hours. And then your larger pests, with those really rigid exoskeletons like roaches and beetles, they might take anywhere from 3 to 7 days to fully dehydrate. So yes, the timeline is a bit slower, but the result is absolutely permanent. All right, Section 4, DIY Home Application Hacks. Let's talk about weaponizing DE at home. First, and I literally cannot stress this enough, a massive warning. Use food-grade diatomaceous earth only. This is absolutely critical. There are industrial-grade DE products out there, mostly used for swimming pool filters. Do not buy those. Pool filter DE has been heat-treated, it's structurally altered, and it contains harmful chemical additives. You strictly want food-grade DE. It's super easy to find at hardware stores, farm supply spots, or just online. A highly available brand usually runs about $4 to $8 for a 4-pound bag. When you actually go to apply this stuff, you want to follow 3 basic steps. Step 1, obviously, get the food-grade stuff. Step 2 is the golden rule. Think thin. A super light, barely visible dusting works infinitely better than a heavy application. If you just dump big, obvious piles of white powder everywhere, the bugs are literally just going to walk right around it. You want a really fine, almost invisible layer. And step 3, target the dry pathways. Pick up a cheap plastic squeeze bottle or a powder duster and just give a really light puff into the hidden areas where you know insects travel. It is crazy how versatile this is around the house. You can puff it behind baseboards, inside your cabinet hinges, or right into the wall voids where bugs love to hang out. Dealing with bed bugs? A thin layer under the mattress and in the bed frame joints works absolute wonders. And here's a hack that always surprises people. You can actually mix food-grade DE directly into stored food grain. Seriously, just 1 cup per 50 pounds of grain coats the kernels and kills any weevils or larvae trying to feed, and it leaves 0 chemical contamination in your food. You can also use it outside, around the perimeter of chicken coops, rabbit hutches, or garden beds to stop crawling pests dead in their tracks. Moving to Section 5, Limitations and Safety Facts. Basically, the fine print. Okay, so there is one major kryptonite when it comes to DE, and that's moisture. As long as this powder is bone dry, it stays active, razor sharp, and completely lethal for literally years. But wet DE, it's basically inert. When water hits it, those microscopic particles clump together and they completely lose those sharp exoskeleton penetrating edges. What does this mean for you? Well, if you apply it outside, in your garden or around the foundation of your house, you absolutely have to reapply it after a heavy morning dew, high humidity, or a rainstorm. Inside your drywalls, it lasts forever. Outside, rain resets the clock. A couple more quick pieces of fine print for you. First, DE does not kill insect eggs. It only takes out the active insects that actually walk through it. So if you're dealing with pests that have really rapid reproduction cycles, you just have to leave the powder there for a few weeks to catch the newly hatched bugs as they emerge. Second, even though food-grade DE has 0 toxicity to mammals, like studies show no effects on animals even at super high doses, you still want to throw on a standard dust mask if you're puffing large clouds of it indoors. It's a really fine dust, and inhaling large amounts of any fine dust can irritate your lungs. So the mask is just for comfort, not some crazy hazmat protocol. Once it settles, it's perfectly safe around your pets and kids. Which brings us to one final question. Now that you're armed with this knowledge, are you really going to go renew that $800 temporary chemical subscription? Or are you going to go buy a $4 bag of fossilized glass? For 60 years, this massive pest control industry has banked on you just not knowing this powder even exists. Well, now you know. If you found this breakdown helpful, please share it with someone who's been stuck on that chemical treadmill. It's time to break the cycle. Grab a squeeze bottle and take back your home. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and keep learning.